Hey everyone, today I'm going to make two very special classic Cantonese home style dishes. I'm going to put them together for a very special lunch for my little girl Alice, and she is starting to eat more solid foods, so this is a great way to introduce more vegetables into her diet. I'm making smooth egg with tomato and chicken over rice. I have here 150 grams of boneless, skinless chicken thighs. And here I have 200 grams of tomatoes. And I'm going to show you how to prepare these later. This is 2 large eggs. And this is 1 clove of garlic. Normally I use more, but as I said, this meal is also for my little girls. I don't want too many strong flavors. And to introduce more vegetables, this is 3¼ cups of frozen peas that I blanched. And to make the gravy, this is 1 cup of water. And this is 3 tablespoons of potato flour plus 2 tablespoons of water, which is a slurry, and this is going to thicken up the sauce. You can also use corn flour, or in North America it's called cornstarch, and you can also use tapioca starch. Plus, it's going to have some oyster sauce, soy sauce, and some sesame oil, which is also going to go into marinate my chicken. And right here I have 2 teaspoons of sugar. Now, if you follow my channel, I don't really use sugar in my cooking because I don't think it needs it. But when you're cooking with tomatoes, sometimes they can be very acidic. They need some sugar to help cut down the sourness. And besides, if you go to a Chinese restaurant, yeah, sugar, it's widely used. Okay, first thing to do, marinate the chicken. Oh, and for the chicken marinade, I forgot, this is 2 teaspoons of corn flour, which is also going to help flavor this gravy. So cut them to about 1/4 inch to 1/2 inch chunks like this would be good enough. All right, this is going to be a very simple marinade. I need 2 teaspoons of soy sauce. That's 1, and that's 2, and just 1/4 teaspoon of sesame oil. Now, if you're making this for yourself, or if you have kids that are older, you can add in a tablespoon of Shaoxing Chinese cooking wine and 1/2 teaspoon of ground white pepper, okay? Because Chinese cooking wine, even though the alcohol is cooked off, it has a little bit of a slight little bitter taste, right? And because the little ones have a more sensitive palate, it might be too strong for them. Okay, and just get in there and mix it with your hands. And then, when you don't see any sauce on the bottom of the bowl, you're done. Okay, so that's done. The chicken has a off-white color. I'm going to marinate this in the refrigerator for just 10 minutes. So while the chicken is marinating, let's work on the tomatoes. Since these tomatoes are not that big, I'm just going to cut them up into quarters. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to reserve 4 pieces, because when I start cooking the rest of these tomatoes, it's going to reduce to a mush. I'm going to throw these pieces near the end. This way my daughter Alice can recognize pieces of tomato. And then for the garlic, just give it a rough chop. Yeah, I noticed for young kids, you really have to be careful about the taste of certain foods, because from my experience, yeah, garlic is too strong for the taste. But if you introduce a little bit at a time, they'll get used to it. Because garlic is just so healthy. Just like that, good enough. And smooth egg sauce is basically just a gravy, and we all know how nutritious eggs are for kids. All right, so now that my chicken is finished marinating, I'm gonna start cooking. Screaming so loud.
I put water on her head. Just like this, like, because lie down, she's fighting, you know. That's why she's screaming.
Wrong.
I want to wash that for her.
All right, so I'm gonna switch my heat on to a medium-high flame. And you all know the drill. You add oil when your wok or your pan starts to smoke. I'm gonna put in 2 tablespoons of oil. Spread the oil around. And throw in the chicken. All right, after 10 seconds, flip the chicken. You're gonna see a very nice color on the bottom side of the chicken. And you want to cook the chicken just until it's about done, because we are going to cook it again later, like right now. So I'm going to switch my heat on to medium heat, and when I see smoke come out, I'm going to add in my tomatoes. We're just gonna cook the tomatoes very fast until it wilts down a little bit. And then I add my garlic. I don't want my garlic to burn too fast, so I'm gonna add in my 1 cup water. And then I'm going to start scraping the bottom of the pan. I'm going to lift up the sauces from the marinade, as well as small pieces of chicken bits. So this is a great start for a sauce. So I'm going to cook these tomatoes down just a little bit more until they're really soft and mushy. You can also just slightly squeeze the tomatoes so that it will give off even more moisture. And I'm just gonna let this cook down for like a minute. So that's one of the reasons why I'm using more starch to water ratio than usual, because you never know. Sometimes tomatoes, depending on the season, there's more water or there's less water. You never know. So that's why it's always good to have a little bit of extra thickener, just in case you have like extra juicy tomatoes and you want your sauce to be more thick than runny. Okay, so while your sauce is bubbling right now, let's add in some extra seasonings. I'm going to add 2 tablespoons of oyster sauce. That's 1. That's 2. And just 1 tablespoon of soy sauce, light soy sauce. And just a 1/4 teaspoon of pure sesame oil. Okay, now while this is boiling, I'm going to stir up my slurry, and this is where the real magic happens. I'm going to add in 1 tablespoon of slurry first, and immediately get in there and mix it so it's got a nice consistency. And then I'm going to cut off the flames, and then here's the magic act part 2. I'm going to mix my eggs. Slowly drizzle in my eggs. That. And then I'm going to turn my heat on to a low flame. And you want to stir in one direction. Toss in your chicken. The peas. And your extra tomato pieces. And switch off the heat, and there you go. Simple as that. Watan fan ke gai. Now it is not too late to taste and season your dish. I'm gonna see if it needs any sugar. Tomato there. Just fine. I don't need any sugar. All right. I am so excited to show all of you how this looks. Nice chicken chunks, egg, smooth egg. So that is something you can find at a Chinese restaurant in New York City. And by the way, I know these eggs look slightly runny, but that's how a Chinese smooth egg gravy looks like. So for baby Alice, I'm gonna cook her portion just a little bit longer, just to eliminate any problems with salmonella in the eggs. So if you got a picky eater of your own back at home, try making this for your own little one. I'm sure they'll like it just as much as my little Alice likes it. It's easy to make, fast, and very nutritious.